Here we go. What do you collect? We're talking with Jay. We're talking with Tim and Tyler. Some ultimate collectors here.
What do you collect? Show me your collection. You're my one of one. You're my kind of obsession. My big break.
This segment is brought to you by NBA Top Shot. We're feeling all right
Great
today.
Quality. Thank you for.
Oh,
great
pleasure,
to be
pleasure.
here.
Thank you. We're just gonna talk some.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
You got it. You got it. This is going to be some fun stuff today. I want you to start out quickly telling me your top three collectibles. Jay, what do you got for us today? What are your top three collectibles? What's your favorites?
Nick Van Exel signed jersey. Nick Van Exel is my favorite athlete of all time. Got it signed myself when I was a kid. I've had it ever since. Jason Williams signed game-worn sneakers. Jason Williams, formerly of the New Jersey Nets. Rebounding machine, amazing guy. Had some issues in his life, but will always be a fan of his. And you know what? Maybe I will say my Kevin Durant run it back Top Shot moment, which Roham himself promised me would age better than a Bored Ape. Those are my top.
Look at this. Very nice. We're going all over the map there, Jay. I see you're a big NBA fan too, because every one of those collectibles are NBA, as I can see. So this is good. Brother. We'll be coming back to this. Tim, I know you're a big collector. Not only I feel like a huge collector. I know it's gonna be hard to pick three, but what do you got for us today?
So I'm not gonna get too much into it, but the collection that I bought back during during the pandemic, that's it. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's that is my prized possession, no doubt about it. It's I've sort of taken it on, it's my own now. But I am going to go back to my childhood where it all started. I'm a Timmy Raines fan. I got to meet Timmy Raines back in the day, and I became friends with Timmy. I was this little scrawny ass kid, man, and I just bugged the hell out of him until he eventually started noticing me. He gave me his warm up coat, which I still have, and I still wear quite a bit.
Which team was this?
What's that?
Which team was Tim on at the time?
He was Expos. This is all Expos. I'm Expos through and through. I did like him when he. I followed him even when I went to college. I was playing ball in college, but I was still following him. And I remember telling him, like talking to him on the phone, and I'm like, I'm going to be playing you someday, and blah blah blah, being so stupid because I was not that talented, but I would still I probably had 3 or 4 beers in me when I was talking to him. Who knows? But that's it. Then I would have to say, I have a Sandy Koufax ball that Sandy Koufax autographed. I played catch with Sandy Koufax in Vero Beach. My dad and I used to go down to spring training, and you know how it works, man. Your parent pulls up and embarrasses the hell out of you, and I'm sitting there. We're driving down Vero Beach Lane, and if you had never been to Dodger Town back then, they were walking around as if it was nothing back in 83, 84. They were incredibly accessible. And my dad says to me, get your glove. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, hey, Sandy, we're driving. And he says, Sandy, will you play catch with my son? And he turns and he's like, sure. He doesn't have a glove, so he's putting a right-handed mitt on on his left hand. And he played, we might have tossed the ball maybe 10 times. I think I dropped it twice, but I have it still. And my dad passed away in 2022, and it's probably one of my greatest memories. And it has a scuff on it from when it hit the Tarvia. Yeah, and he signed it. Yeah, so he signed that. So I have that. And then last but not least, because my dad's favorite player was Nolan Ryan. I had never held a Nolan Ryan rookie card as a child. I couldn't afford it, and I saw it through, saw it through the glass, of people's displays, and always admired it. And when I bought this collection, the first thing that I did, even when I saw the collection, is I went through the 1968 top set, and I found 4 of them. And I was pretty enamored by it right then. And I remember calling my dad, because he was alive at the time, and I remember calling him going, "Pops, I'm gonna own," it almost gets me a little choked up, but I said, "Pops, I'm gonna own the 68 Ryan." And he's like, "You're gonna what?" And that's it. So I got to say, the 1968 Nolan Ryan. I probably threw a lot at you guys right there.
No, listen.
I really do love this stuff.
I just feel like my dad didn't give me enough great experiences as a kid. That's my big takeaway.
Hey, look. I mean, everything is everyone has that one collectible that you'd say brings you back to childhood.
No, but Jay, you what you were saying, yeah, like it's those things. Like you had those moments, and yeah. So
the older we get, the more connected we become with where we come from.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. My dad, I always say this, my dad told me more that he loved me more after the age of 80 than I think he did from the time I was, it just, that was the reality of so
I love it. These are the stories exactly that, that why I started the show, why I'm into collecting and hearing stories, just because, it's those touching moments that will bring any value to that collectible for you, because it's all artifact, it's all something that you just want to have and hold. And no matter what, I remember as a kid being at one of my early Yankee games, loving Derek Jeter, and I seen him there in 1995. So this is before the year that they won the World Series in '96, where he started playing full time at shortstop. He was just coming up at the end of the season. I was there. I had all the rookie prospects, all my Yankee cards. And he came out. I threw the card to him over the dugout, because Yankees weren't a fantastic team at the time, so it was easy to get down there as a kid. And he signed the card. I have it. I mean, Jeter rookie cards you can get all over the place, but for me to sell that one, that day will never come. It's not happening. No matter what the value is, this one is mine, and that's it. It stays in my personal collection. So it's just stories like that. Just priceless to what the collectible items are that we have. And I love that. Tyler, all right, here we go. What do we got? What do you got in your collection? What do you got holding on to, squirreled away from way back when, or that you just picked up maybe today? What do you got for it?
I'm a second generation collector, so there's definitely some stuff that my dad has, sacked away. But in terms of, my collection, cards in particular, one that sticks out being a Rams fan, an Aaron Donald Prism rookie, which is the blue variation, the blue parallel. So it's a nice color match to his jersey. And watching him, probably the greatest defensive player I ever watched, obviously. So being a Ram fan, enjoyed a lot of weekends with him, just, wrecking quarterbacks and things of that nature. So definitely holds a sentimental value to me in that regard.
Was that a pack pull, or did you actually pick that one up, said I gotta own this one, and bought it from a store or a show?
Yeah, I bought it, I believe, a year or two before they won the Super Bowl. So it was right. Sort of during that pandemic time, when I was like, all right, I need to get myself a nice rookie card here, my favorite defensive player of all time. So I would definitely say that's the first one. And then one that, to your point, brings me back to my childhood is a pack pulled, that I pulled as a kid. LeBron James top 2003-2004 Topps rookie card. So I remember pulling that out of a local card store with my dad. I was about 10 or 11 years old at the time. So, but kept it all these years. And then a few years ago, got it graded PSA 9. So definitely that's one that's tucked away. And the last one
at the time though, was that LeBron something that right away you knew, like, this is, I'm holding forever? Or was it one of those like, oh, this guy could be good, and you just put it away and then revisited it sometimes later. What was your recollection of that?
Coming from a sports background with my dad, and being him being a memorabilia collector, he taught me young, for certain guys, hey, you should probably hold on to it. But even back then, that was maybe a $5 card, $10 card when it came out. I mean, it wasn't one of the more rare sets, or one of the variations or things like that. So did I think he was going to fulfill those expectations? Wasn't really sure at the time. I remember because Carmelo Anthony also came out that same year, that Christmas. I remember getting both of their jerseys from my parents, just to wear, to school. So I also remember pulling Carmelo because the packs at that time certainly, weren't costing what they are today. So I remember pulling both of those guys out of, a few packs. But definitely that sentimental value of going to the card store with my dad and always taking a look at that card brings me right back to those times when it seemed like things were a bit more simpler.
Sweet. Indeed. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
then I would say the last one. I don't have one in particular, but I do have a lot of Andre Dawson memorabilia that my dad accumulated over the years.
Look at this. Tim's getting excited over there. Look at this.
The Expos.
Yeah, he's my godfather, so I built a great relationship with him over the course of my life, thanks to my dad. There's a lot of things in that regard. Helmets from the Expos, jerseys from the Cubs, even.
Come on, man! This is Tyler. You're driving me nuts right now.
Look at this, you guys.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I would say anything of his I hold sacred. Obviously, whether it's his rookie card that's not necessarily as expensive as maybe some other Hall of Famers from his era, but so anything Andre Dawson wise, I always got to have my guys back. So I was able to see him a couple weeks ago in Philadelphia. He was doing a signing at the Philly show, so it was nice to be able to catch up with him back there. But yeah, I would say those are my three, so it kind of can go all over the place.
I love it. These are some amazing stories, guys. And look at the connections we're building here. Tim's going bananas over there, Andre Dawson, Montreal stuff. I mean, this is just, I love doing this because it's just talking some great collectibles and just see how excited, us as fans can get of the game, of the collectibles, of these stories. It's just great. I love hearing that. And going along with, the older times, bringing us up to today into the newer stuff, it's just growing, as far as when we started collecting. I think it's really was something that you had a small maybe group of friends that also did it, not as big as it is today. I would say where almost every group you come across, there's always somebody in there collecting, a big collector of something. Whether it's toys, whether it's old movie posters or anime, Pokemon, obviously NBA, NFL, MLB, like hockey, all this is being collected today at just great extents. And Jay's on here to talk also on working currently with Beezie.io, helping them get started with some great digital claw game that goes on where you can basically pull a digital version of a physical card. So Jay, you want to tell us a little bit, go into what you're working on with that exactly?
My journey is interesting because I didn't collect anything after I was like 14 years old. As an adult, you get sucked into like the real world, and you have family, and you have maybe kids or pets, and you have a home, and you move around, and the idea of having things at some point became a burden to me. I had a lot of shit at my parents' house, right? My parents were divorced, so I had a lot of shit at both of their houses. And then they move, right? Because they move in with somebody else, and just keeping track of stuff over time was really laborious. And for somebody like myself, it almost became a nuisance. And I found myself, the older I got, trying to get rid of as much as I possibly could. And it wasn't until 2021 when I first heard about Dapper Labs launching nbatopshot that I even thought about what it was like to collect as a kid. And you get some of those instincts. And I held on to some things, again, to our earlier point, I held on to things that had maybe an emotional tie to me, guys I met, guys I developed friendships with as a kid, memories I had. But the promise of being able to own things and to safeguard memories without having to be dragged down by physical assets was super, super appealing to me, especially as we live in an increasingly digital world and the experiences we share with people are through screens, even more so than in real life. The assets that we have are increasingly digitized, and do you even have to have physical possession of something? What is physical possession? What does it mean in a digital world? And all of those things brought me onto NBA Top Shot, like a lot of other people who kind of joined this blockchain based collectibles renaissance. And I think it's been fairly well documented. I've had my ups and downs in that space. I've made a lot of great relationships and enemies, and I would have it no other way. But the promise and the allure of digitizing assets and still maintaining ownership and having liquidity and the ability to trade and buy and sell and collect and continue to harness these memories that mean so much to us as humans. Anyway, fast forward to today. There's a company out there called Beezie, and they're in an increasingly crowded space. And one of the innovative things that they do is they have a partnership with Brinks, which is a 100-year-old security company. They have physical vaults where you can store things and have them safeguarded at the highest levels. And one of the things that this company Beezie does is they take in physical assets, they store them in a Brinks vault, and then they digitize them. So you can have physical ownership of something, but you don't have to have physical possession of it, which is super appealing to people like myself. You can digitize it and immediately have liquidity on a marketplace, which gives you all the benefits of physical asset ownership without any of what I would call, the challenges of physical ownership. And then you can trade those tokens. So when I first came into contact with Beezie, I'm an entrepreneur. I've worked with a number of startups within the Web3 and blockchain space and beyond. It was kind of a natural thing for me to come together with like-minded, collectible, passionate, smart, enterprising individuals who are building something amazing. And they had been focused primarily on trading card games, Pokemon, things of that nature, stuff that give me 100 years, I'll never understand it. It's simply not for me. And I was like, I love all the shit you guys are doing. Where's the basketball? And they were like, come build it with us. So that's kind of a journey that I've been on over the last few months. And we're going to launch the flagship basketball version of their very, very popular, very successful Claw, which is basically a gotcha game. And one of the cool things they do is, you spend $30 or $50 or whatever the cost of entry is. You push the button, you pull the claw, you get something out of it at random. It could be something worth, the same amount of money you put in. It could be worth something 10 or 100 times more than the money you put in. And they give you an instant 90% offer to swap it back in, which again, is just using blockchain for really meaningful, enjoyable experiences that people of today resonate with. And it's a dope company. They're doing dope things, and it allows me to kind of harken back to my roots as a collector and somebody who can find new ways to enjoy the things that I love. And for me, basketball is life. So any chance I have to dig deeper into the thing I love the most and actually turn it into a hobby or even more than a hobby, something you can make money doing and build relationships with and trailblaze new concepts and ideas. It's a dope thing to be a part of.
I love it, man. I love it. It's great stuff. It's like the friend with the backpack method. I mean, it's like, you go out with a group of friends, the one kid with the backpack, it's like, here, hold all my stuff. I mean, that's always what it was. Your girlfriend with the bag. Hey, you got a bag? Hold on. That's what it is with this digital way of holding something that somebody else holds. You don't have to necessarily keep it on you if you don't want. I mean, all of us, I think, love obviously to display stuff behind me, to display stuff. But sometimes it's maybe you're living in an apartment in Manhattan. You just have enough. You're running out of shelf space where it's like the future of where things are going. I think it's just so exciting based on like the demand that's there for these collectibles, and to say that it's securely being held by somebody else, that's it. Put it in a backpack. Hey, you mind carrying that around for me? That's it. It's just like a real neat thing that just you see where the future's going with this. It's pretty cool. You can keep that backpack on you. I don't want to be carrying nothing next time we're walking around Disney World or to a NBA game or anything. But I just think it's so cool. I love just to see where it's going and just for the future of collecting. And talking about the future collecting, Tim, what do you say as far as what you've been seeing out there? If you want to tell us a little bit about your collection and how you see the future generation out there just absorbing and just reacting to what you have. And
yeah, without a doubt. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, it's always hard for me to condense it, but I know that I have to condense it because we don't have enough time. But back in if it, we were written up by the New York Times, so that's really the easiest way to really if you want the long version. But the shorter version is during the pandemic, I was buying some early 80s wax on eBay because I was trying to find my way. I had just sold some businesses and I was, semi-retired. I don't know what I was. I really don't. I mean, I knew that I wanted to do something and I wanted to find my next joy. And I knew collecting, like I hadn't collected in years. I hadn't collected since 87. I mean, honestly, and I worked for Tough Stuff from 96 to 99 as a job, which catapulted me into one of my first businesses that I started. But I got contacted and they showed me the collection. It was the most remarkable thing I had ever seen. I experienced it in three different rooms, and by the fourth room I realized that I was seeing something that was extraordinary. It wasn't normal. And I started connecting with the gentleman who was older. It was because the daughter was coordinating everything, and ultimately at the end of the day, they chose me. And it wasn't people ask me why did they choose me. I think they realized that I fell in love with it. I actually did fall in love with the collection. Like I was holding things that yeah, excuse me. I was about to own something that I dreamed of holding when I was a kid, and it was pretty remarkable. Flash forward, we are now working with some major people. I think, not sure if you guys have seen it, but Shaquille O'Neal, we have partnered with Shaq, and that was announced in Sports Illustrated. But my ultimate goal is I want to give the collection away. And people say, what do you mean? What I mean is I ultimately want one card at a time to spread the joy of this collection, whether it's giving away a 1958 Mickey Mantle. But I will say to you, this isn't, and my goal isn't to go out there and be like, oh yeah, I'm this martyr and I'm giving away. No, it really is a collection beyond collections. And I've had a couple of people that have walked in that have forgotten more about cards than I will ever know, because I am truly inadequate when it comes to the knowledge part about cards. I know I can tell you who played first base for the Cubs in the 80s. I can tell you just about everything that I know from my generation. And I can talk about that, and I can talk about line scores. I can talk about games and all that stuff. And I can talk about cards that I collected. But I'm learning all this whole new generation of collecting through this experience. And I have my daughter involved. I have three daughters, but I have my youngest is involved, and she handles my social media. I have another woman involved who handles my YouTube stuff. And what we're trying to do is really grow an audience that is large enough that we can truly start really catapulting this in a direction that, that I believe the previous owner would want. This started in 1951 or 52. I don't know the exact. This started where I'm sitting. This collection started, and there is original cards from when he threw newspapers that I'm literally holding. And I was blessed and fortunate that when I walked in the house and then went into this huge warehouse in the backyard that he kept a lot of it, that I was blessed and fortunate that I didn't look at it in dollar signs. I didn't look at it in monetization. I looked at it as like, oh my God, I would love to thumb through all these boxes. So to tie this up a little bit, you know, to get back to your question, I think I don't know that I'm the right person to talk to about collecting habits. I don't really live in reality when I walk into this collection every day. I walk into a collection that is filled 20 million cards. And these are just things that I'll share with you guys. You know, I have found PSA 10 black refractors from 2003. I'll let you guys just sort of imagine what I'm talking about. PSA 10 now. That's what this guy collected. Like later on. But I also have a PSA 8 of a 1958 and a 1959 Mickey Mantle. That tells you the extension of this. Then I have, you know, guys, please, I'm saying in this the most humble way because this is the collection. It's not me. This isn't a resemblance of me. This is what I purchased in 2021. And I've had the pleasure of unfolding it and you know, I find myself, which I never thought I would, thumbing through sets from the 50s and the 60s because he had every set from 1954 to 2016 of Topps, and in multiple sets in the 50s. Like he has 2 sets from 1955. Yep, that's the Sandy Koufax, Clemente, Killebrew. That's the you know, and when you are in the presence of that, when I like people ask me, do you keep looking through the collection? I actually say I did it first, but I don't really anymore because I'm so consumed by looking through, finding cards in these sets from the 50s and the 60s. I'm like, there's got to be a PSA 10. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. But could you just imagine finding a card that is nearly 70, 75 years old or 70 years old, and it's in perfect condition and it's been kept like that? Like, to me, I get more enamored by that this was cared for so much because I have 3 binders. This puts it in perspective. I have 3 binders from when I was 13, 14, 15 years old that I collected. And I put that in perspective. And I open up my binders and I'm like I couldn't even keep these in good condition. Like my Ricky Henderson's got soft corners, and my Mark McGuire Olympic card has soft corners. And I'm like, in this collection was kept in such a in such a great condition, but
pristine condition. That's something. That's incredible.
And I do always say this. I invite people like-minded that it's an experience when you walk in the door and you look around.
Where do you live, Tim? Where is the invitation to come to?
Oh yeah, what location?
The invitation is down in we're in Moseley, Virginia. We're down in Moseley. And I want to be careful.
No, don't give out too much more than that.
Yeah, that's it. And we can talk offline. But what I would say is that I try to show and convey the collection as much as I can on our socials. And I got to state this. People ask me, they're like, how do you do it or whatever? It's very natural. When you love something and you are like so excited to talk about it, it's easy. It really is easy. Jay, I just listened to you talk about something that you're passionate about. That was easy for you. It literally, and I'm sitting here writing stuff down going, man, I can't wait I want to look this up. Like, I want to know what you're doing. Like, I think it's pretty cool. that they turn to you to talk to you about, hey, build this basketball side of it. And, and you were honest about, your Pokemon, piece or whatever.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I got freaking packs from 1999 and I show them to my nephew and he's like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." And I'm like, yeah, it's Pokemon. Like I'm sort of in the same boat. That doesn't mean I think Pokemon is cool as hell. I've learned a lot about it, and I've learned a lot about how it was established and how it came to be and what have you. But I don't want to. I have already told you guys I could keep talking forever, and I want to pass the baton to Tyler because I could just keep talking, no doubt.
I don't know if this was ever mentioned, unless I missed it. For the audience watching, have you said who you bought this collection from?
No, and it was part of the I made a conscious choice, and I told the daughter that I would never ever talk about that. The anonymity meant it was very important.
Gotcha.
And I also made an agreement that I would never talk about the price because and I always say this to people, I never haggled. I let her determine the price. And I felt very honored that they chose me. And that was a big part of it because
why did they choose you? Why do you think they chose you?
Because I loved it. I fell in love with it. Like by the third building, by the time we got into the third room, the father and I were literally laughing and talking about collecting experiences. And I think whoever else they had in there, he kicked people out. He didn't, because their intentions were, oh my God, I can't wait to break this up. And I immediately said that was not an intention. I didn't have an intention. I literally was like shocked the next morning when I got a phone call. And it was either the greatest sales pitch that Donna ever had, that she ever had, or it was, and I felt it was true. And I felt that it was authentic. She called me and she said, "Tim, we have another person coming in. My dad really likes you and he wants you to have this collection." And I'm like, what do you say to that? I'm like,
that's great.
Okay. I literally was like, okay. And I'm on the phone with my brother and I'm like, "Hey, Peach, you got to do this. I'm getting the wire information." He handled all of my finances. And I said, "This is what we got to do," and what have you. And that was it. And so why did they choose me? Because I was happy and I loved being where I was. And I think that's what it boils down to is I genuinely had the time of my life. If they didn't choose me, I can always say I saw it, and that was it. So
that's great. I love the stories, and I love the passion you have for collecting. I think that's a lot of us have something that we're passionate about over the years and collecting. Tyler, how about a little bit of your passions and exactly what you've been into and collecting, and what you think of the future for the generations out there?
Yeah. So similar to Jay, I was heavy into collecting growing up. And then obviously, sports, girls, partying, things like that obviously come into the picture, go to college, graduate, and came out. But basically, graduated about a year or so before the pandemic hit. So it was honestly just a perfect crossroads for me, getting out of college and being like, okay, I have all this student loan debt. What do I want to do with my life that's going to continue to, keep me passionate about whatever it is that I may be doing? So ended up, just getting back into the swing of things, and then was hired by Sports Card Investor as one of their first employees back in 2019, and really helped build the brand that they have over there. Worked there for about 3 years, then decided to come back home. This was following the pandemic and everything, and the market started to come back down to normal and things of that nature. But Then was able to work with Goldin Auctions for a little while on some freelance content related stuff. And all of these steps sort of ultimately landed me with The Athletic right now as a sports collectibles writer, which I've been doing there for a little bit over a year now, specifying in rookie card guides, things of that nature, whether it be a particular player or a particular set. Or even recently, we just put out we ranked the top sports cards or the coolest sports cards that were released in 2025. So I'm more on the working with a company like Sports Card Investor. I was definitely more in the experienced side of things per se, and in terms of the type of audience I was working with and the sort of collectors I was talking to, compared to now where it's a bit of a breath of fresh air in terms of helping new people come into the hobby or just collecting in general, whether it may be NBA Top Shot related stuff or So Rare related stuff where, it is that collecting, it is that line of collecting, but it is branching toward the future. But like I said, my father is a second generation collector. He's a huge memorabilia collector. So as a 10-year-old, I was going to the National Sports Card Convention in Atlantic City as a kid and, going to shows. So it's just something that's been a part of my DNA since I could remember, thanks to my dad. So taking all of that knowledge that I sort of gained being his, show dealer buddy per se, and things of that nature growing up really helped sort of get myself into the career that I'm in now. So in that regard, it's not too specific on particular collectibles or, this is something that was a passion for me that's now turned into a career, which just speaks volume to where we are in the industry. When I was growing up, this was not looked at, as you said, Paul, in the beginning, this was not looked at as a lifestyle brand. This was looked at similar to how comic books, like, oh, let's put them aside with the comic book nerds and things of that nature. And now it's completely gone mainstream, which is where, particular jobs like mine didn't really exist 20 years ago. And now they are, thanks to all of these different facets of collecting, whether it be, the stuff that Tim talks about that this hobbyist thrive with for years, or even now, like you said, with NBA Top Shot, which I even collected a little while when it first started out. But I'm very bullish on a lot of these digital collectibles and, the company that Jay was just talking about and the projects that they're doing. I know Courtyard, there's some other bigger names out there that are doing stuff like that. But as somebody who will be 33 next year, this is really exciting. Things are just getting started, and it really makes you wonder where it's going to go from that regard. But I'm a fan of both physical collectibles, the traditional style collectibles, cards, but also digital stuff as well. And even in the realm of the gamification, which I'm a big fan of, I like doing daily fantasy lineups and things like that. So projects like So Rare or DraftKings Rainmakers, which is no longer around. But those sorts of digital collectibles really get me excited because I enjoy fantasy football, fantasy sports, that aspect. So it's cool where you can actually apply back to what Tim was saying, like, the sports, the players, the moments, which guys to pick. I can put on a GM sort of cap and feel comfortable knowing what players I want to pick to roll out there. So there's just so many different avenues that, can be discussed in terms of just the collectible space in each particular sector and where it may be going. But it has me very, very excited. And as I get older and, I'm, able to afford those purchases, like Tim was talking about, those purchases that I've wanted to have as a kid, that I'm not able to make quite yet. But I know in time, as I get older, those will be opportunities that I can't wait to take advantage of, because as I said, just more people are continuing to come in, and that's just more room to educate and for more people to have fun, whether it be because they want to make money or whether it's because, like Tim's situation, where I absolutely love this stuff and it doesn't matter what it would be worth. I love it because it's what I collect and it's what makes me happy, So, I would say that's a little bit of my collecting journey and sort of my outlook on the collectible space, and really happy that I'm able to write about it every day. So I don't have any particular plugs per se, but anybody who's on The Athletic or the New York Times, go to the collectible section. no different than their sports section or any of their other sections the New York Times have. We have a great team of writers there that are really putting their heart into good articles, whether it be rookie card guides or keeping up with the news related to the hobby and collectibles.
That's hey, Paul, can I do a quick plug since Tyler didn't want to give one? For our friends at Dapper Labs and Top Shot, Tyler, if you haven't checked it out already, I know Paulie and I are big fans of their DFS game. It's called Fast Break. Actually, I'm not going to lie. While we're recording this, I'm simultaneously filling out my Fast Break lineup for the first day. Just I like to multitask, get shit done when I can.
There you go.
It allows you.
It's how we roll. It's how we roll at this age.
How we roll. Listen, there's only so much time. We're only alive for so long. But it's a really fun daily fantasy game. You get to put on your GM hat. You pick players that are going to hit certain stat lines in
I have like 6 sealed packs just sitting there. So I think one of them's maybe a Cool Cats, but I don't know. Most of the Anthony Richardsons, I think, and LaMelos are pulled. But this is, like I said, this is me.
You can sell your packs now. The whole pack you can put on the marketplace. I want to also unplug a little bit of Fast Break. Something that I really just got into over the summer, just to say in general, if you like fantasy, there's the historic Fast Breaks. I love it because it's just you get a chance to collect your old, the old players from when you were a kid. I just completed a challenge to get a John Starks legendary moment. His first moment on the platform. But basically, you with your historic collection, you can use a simulated game that will happen during these runs, and all of a sudden you got John Starks scoring your points, Patrick Ewing, Akeem Olajuwon. You can use these players through simulation fantasy, which is something fun and cool. Where I don't think you could do that anywhere that using your own collection to do that. Where it's just so much fun. You can win packs out of it, and some prizes. So it's just something neat. It's just something that I think is cool to kind of mesh the old time with the new collectors today.
Paulie, can I tell
so that's something different.
So I'm a marketing guy. I've worked most of my career with marketing agencies, and Bacardi was a big client for a long time. And we used to do these big, massive activations for Bacardi. We throw parties for them. We throw concerts. And one year we did a big event in New York, and we had a bunch of former NBA players come out as brand ambassadors to meet Bacardi customers. I was not in charge of procuring the athletes. Whoever was made the decision that John Starks would be one of them. I grew up a Bulls fan in the 90s, and I lived in New Jersey, so I also rooted for the Nets. So hardly a fan of John Starks. And I'm a passionate basketball fan, so I carry my biases with me throughout life, as you should as a sports fan. So even though I was an executive at this marketing agency and John Starks was there representing our key client, I refused to speak to him. I didn't say a word to him. I wouldn't look him in the eye. When I was on site, I saw him. I walked right past him. And I think that's what you do as a loyal sports fan.
Wow, Jay, listen, this is,
yeah, that's where thick leather, pal. That's where it's Fonzie leather, no doubt.
Yeah, really. It's fandom, and that's what makes collecting great. And the stories behind the collection is just what I love telling on these episodes. Thank you guys so much for spending your time here today, sharing a little bit of your personal collection and stories of life and what's coming up in the future.
Can I plug my socials, because I think my daughter and Maddie would punch me in the face if I.
I'm gonna be putting it out there with the video, but please tell us all where to follow and take a look at your collection.
We're at the Big League Find. We're on we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and we're on TikTok, and it's some of it. Like, I just follow their leads. So when you guys do watch it, it's just a lot of fun. That's it. Just think of it as I'm breaking boxes. I'm also dancing and doing stuff, and yeah, I'm yeah.
So your pitch to the people is show up for the card breaks, stay for the dancing.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. And I would actually even go further. Every Saturday on every single platform, we give away a card. And when you guys go and see what cards we're giving away, they're not 2018 cards. We're talking 1960s, 1950s, and 1970 cards that The only way you can get them is if you go to a show or you go online and you actually buy them. You know, I mean, a lot of these packs you can, I mean, some of these cards, these newer cards, you can go and you can still buy the packs for them because people they're accessible. Where, you know, a 1960 Roberto Clemente isn't accessible unless, you know, you can't go buy a pack for, you know, for $50. A pack from 1960 is going to run you a couple grand, $2, $3, $4, $5,000, you know? So,
and you're still not going to hit the Clemente.
And that's it. So we're having a lot of fun, but I appreciate you letting me plug.
And you have 20,000 Michael Jordan cards in this collection.
Yeah, I would say that I would even say probably a little bit more. Again, I'd walk you guys through it, but it's just not. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I'd rather have you guys come down here and
we're all coming, Tim.
I know, and I welcome you. So Tyler, Zach Schomburg is the one who wrote the article for the New York Times for us.
Okay.
So Zach wrote the article. When he came down, I do got to share this, and I know I'm probably I'm overstaying my welcome.
No, not at all.
No, Zach came in. I didn't know the whole ethics thing and all that stuff about writers and what have you. So I'm trying to give him cards, and he's like, no. He literally was like, no. And I'm like, you got kids, and he's like, no. Do you understand? And I couldn't even buy him lunch. I was like, let me buy you lunch for coming down. He was like, no, I can't.
Tim, don't worry. When I come down there, I'll make up for him.
Oh, of course.
I like lobster.
Do you understand that is the best part about this is like when people walk in, they leave with stuff because, guys, come on, man. It's 20 million freaking cards. Like your favorite player. See, now that I know that John Starks is Jay's favorite player, I'm going to be pulling some John Stark cards. You know,
beautiful. It is
John Stark cards. I would actually say, do you want to hear something really cool? I have a really cool Keith Van Horn rookie. It's a PSA 10 that I found. And I know Keith Van Horn probably is close to your heart because that was your time.
Absolutely.
I know he didn't pan.
If Keith Van Horn was in the league today, he would be an absolute fucking superstar.
Sure. Yeah, because he's tall and lanky is what he was.
Hit shots from everywhere on the court.
And he played with guys that beat the hell out of you, man, back then. You were playing against Barkley, Jordan, and I mean, come on. Like you were getting killed.
Yeah.
Killed. And he was tall and skinny. And he just couldn't manufacture your stuff at that, you know, when you're at that point.
Tyler, where can we follow and take a look at the articles and follow you on social as well?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram or X at HammerCardTalk. Just as simple as that. So you can find me posting my articles and other sports card related stuff on there as well. And simply just go to the Athletics website or the Athletic. They have an app as well, and you can subscribe to get all of our collectibles articles. So, but yeah, feel free to shoot me a follow on those social media platforms. And like I said, definitely don't be shy to go in that collectibles section on the Athletic. We got a lot of really good stuff in there, whether you're a new collector or an old one too.
Absolutely. And Jay, where are we following you?
I'm at JAYMKTG on Twitter, but I like to say you don't have to find me. I'll find you if I need you.
All righty, he will. He's out there. He's got his nose to the pavement there, Jay. He knows where to go. All right, guys, thank you so much. I love it, and appreciate all your time spending here on What Do You Collect. Thanks again. Enjoy, guys. We have a great time here. Thank you.
Thanks, Paulie. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, Paulie, thank you. Thank you for having me on your pod. What do you collect? Keep spreading the joy in this hobby. No doubt about it. You are a gem, my friend. An absolute gem. And I'm looking forward to doing more things with you in the future. Let's do this together, right? That's what we need to do as a hobby, right? Is do it together.